But Genesis 14:18, where we see Melchizedek mentioned for the first time, it's also the first appearance of the Most High, El, Yahweh, Yeshua. Of course, Melchizedek here, this king of righteousness, is referred to in Genesis 14 as, the English reads, priest of the Most High. The Hebrew there is Cohen, and for that word we generally think of the word priest. However, in the Hebrew understanding, Cohen is basically the base of a community. Meditate on that idea. One who holds a community together. In the Greek, the word for priest is hierus, and that refers to those who devote their lives in its entirety to Yahweh. And that kind of a person would be the one who would be the strong base of any community. I think, that's a better way of thinking about what a Cohen is, rather than priest, because, I don't know about other places in the world, but here in the United States, the idea of a priest is not the base of a community, I'll tell you that. Not for me, anyway. So, the next occurrence of Melchizedek is in Psalm 110, verse 4, where it says that this king of righteousness, in the English it says, after the order of Melchizedek. Let's just take and read that. Psalm 110 and verse 4. It says, Yahweh has sworn and does not relent. You are a Cohen forever according to the order of Melchizedek. Well, if we start up earlier, verse 1, Yahweh said to my master, Yeshua, Yahweh said to Yeshua, sit at my right hand until I make your enemies a footstool for your feet. Yahweh sends your mighty scepter out of Zion. Rule in the midst of your enemies. Your people volunteer in the day of your might, in the splendors of Kodesha. That would be interpreted as holiness in English. From the womb, from the morning, you have the dew of your youth. Yahweh has sworn and does not relent. You are a Cohen forever, according to the order of Melchizedek. Even in this English, from the Hallelujah Scriptures, which does a pretty good job of translating the Hebrew. But again, this is a good point that I'm making recently. It's becoming stronger and stronger, that we do well to study Hebrew. It would be good to take an introductory course in Hebrew. I would not suggest going any further than that. Just an introductory course. Don't go any further, because when you go further, they start feeding you a lot of the westernized garbage that will just get you back off the path. But a good introductory course where you learn the alphabet, the letters, and their basic meanings. After that, I'll put a link in the more info section below this video to Brad Scott, a page on YouTube. I think it's a new site, but there's 44 videos. They're a half hour each, and 22 hours. Well worth digging into. And after that, you can go over to Brad's website and maybe look at his books and CDs and things that he has to offer. I'll put a link to his website there too. I've been digging into all Brad's stuff, and I'm just in love with the information. But this is a great example. You know, Psalm 110:4 says, you know, after the order of Melchizedek. Now, the words after the, I'm not even sure how they get in there. Because they're kind of grouped together after the order. Which brings us to Strong's H1700. Divra is the word, and it means the cause, the manner, or the reason. And the root behind divra is from H1697, davar, which means a speech, word, business, occupation. So it's talking about Yeshua having the same business, the same occupation that the King of Righteousness has. Remember, Melchizedek is not a name. You think of it as a name and you go, oh yeah, that guy, Melchi, you know. No, he's the King of Righteousness. And here in Psalms, and of course in Hebrews chapter 7, the whole chapter, and chapter 6 as well, gets into this relationship of Melchizedek and Yeshua together. And when you consider that in Psalm 110 verse 4 it says that, you know, you're of the order of the King of Righteousness. You have the same cause, you have the same manner, you have the same reason, you have the same speech, you have the same word, you have the same business, you have the same occupation. You are the same person, you might go ahead and add. You can look at Hebrews chapter 5 verse 6 is just really quoting Psalm 110 verse 4. Hebrews chapter 6 verse 20. Chapter 7 verses 1, 9 through 11, 15, 17, and 21. You know, there's all stuff there, but, you know, for my understanding, I believe that Melchizedek, the King of Righteousness, was an early appearance of Yeshua. In Hebrews chapter 7 verses 6 and 9, it's pointing out that Abraham was subordinate to Melchizedek. That's an all-important point, saying that Levi pays tithes to Melchizedek through Abraham, in effect saying that Melchizedek proceeds the entire line of Levi, or the Levitical Kohanim, the Levitical priests. That's a very important point. In Hebrews again, chapter 7, verse 3, it points out that Melchizedek, it has no parents, he has no genealogy, no birth, no death. And then it says, but that he's made like the Son of Man. Made like is Strong's G871. Basically, it's a facsimile. you could say another incarnation. I think that's reasonable. Same thing as a facsimile. Now that G871 comes from G575, which is the word apo, relating to the origin of a cause. One interesting note is the New Jewish Publication Society of America version of the Bible, 1985, for Psalm 110, verse 4 reads, "You are a priest forever, a rightful king by my decree." Instead of saying after the order of Melchizedek, it says a rightful king by my decree. Of course, Yahweh is talking. So you can see how there's another English interpretation from the Hebrew that is not saying after the order of Melchizedek. It's saying a rightful king by my decree. This is just another point. Abba Father is really leading me into learning the Hebrew. He's really pointing me down that path, and it's not a difficult thing to do. Before this even came up, I mentioned this before in a previous video, he told me during my prayer time, this is a simple matter. There's nothing complicated about my language. And it was a couple of days later, I just started getting led into it, and I started studying the letters, and I was amazed. I mean, after 2 days, I was able to read words that are written in Hebrew. And I'm growing in that. There's one last thing, is in the Dead Sea Scrolls. There's one scroll, number 11Q13, in column 2. It says that Melchizedek will carry out Yahweh's wrath, and it also says that Melchizedek is the one who delivers the people from Satan. Belial, it says. Belial is the lord of lies. That's Satan. So if you look at that in the Dead Sea Scrolls, it's very, graphic description of Yeshua in the tribulation. So I don't see Melchizedek as being Michael. I don't see him as Noah's son Shem. I mean, come on. Melchizedek he's no birth, no death. That doesn't apply to Shem. It doesn't apply